Hey guys, today I wanted to do a review on a Bluetooth communication system for a motorcycle helmet. I looked at a couple other brands and I was probably in the $200 to $250 range, maybe even $300 for the communication systems that I had seen out. Once I had my Arai, I knew I was going to get a Bluetooth headset for this, mainly because I like to listen to music, so I'm going to listen to music from my phone while I'm riding. But it also has the ability to do communication between other people that you're riding with, and it also makes it so that you can, I can actually answer a phone call if somebody calls. I've talked to people on the phone before while I'm riding. In this case, I looked up on Google, did a quick search, and just typed in best DIY helmet, Bluetooth motorcycle helmet. And so what I found was there was somebody that had put together a video, and it was 5 different options. And so the first option was the most in-depth, piece by piece, soldering things together, finding all these individual parts and putting them all together. Hey, he had all the links to all the different parts to be able to do that. The second one was a couple pieces that had already been put together, but you still kind of had to solder, you kind of had to makeshift. The third was everything was already together. It was just a few things that you had to connect. And then the fourth was like a kit that you could actually purchase that was really, really cheap, like $15 or something. And then there was this one. He actually had this one as the fifth. It's already all together. You don't have to figure anything out. It's a good setup, good sound, good quality. It's got a microphone for you to be able to talk when you're communicating with another person, or if you're talking on the phone in the middle of a phone call. And so the brand that I ended up getting is this. It's Bluerider, and the model is the M1-S. The kit itself comes with the microphone, 2 different types of microphone, a type of microphone that you would have as a drop-down microphone, like an external microphone. So if you're wearing a skull cap helmet, then that would be the kind of microphone you'd have. The other one is just a wired microphone with a little flimsy, flexible wire, not flimsy, but flexible wire that goes to the actual speaker. So you can take an adhesive, the back has got an adhesive on it, and you can peel the tape off the back, and then you can stick it in the inside of your helmet. So a lot of the different points of view a lot of different points that you have about whether or not you want the different types of Bluetooth communication headsets is whether or not they're the buttons are too small, because usually I have gloves on, and on this one the buttons are not too small. I wear gauntlet gloves every time I ride. With my gauntlet gloves on, I can still feel, even with these gloves on, I can still feel where the buttons are for volume down, volume up. I can communicate with another person. I can turn it off, turn it on. The options on this particular Bluetooth headset are, if I press and hold certain buttons, I can pause music, or I can also double tap and it'll fast forward music. And so it has a really easy, accessible port for charging. So the interesting thing about this is I put this on my helmet and rode to work, home, rode around whenever I wanted to ride around, and I got to the point where it never told me that it was dying. And it didn't actually die. I just figured eventually I just need to plug this thing in. It seemed like it had lasted so long, I wasn't even paying attention. It had been just hours and hours of riding, listening to music, and I never noticed. It never told me that I needed to charge, so I never actually got to that point. I haven't ridden it once and gotten to that point where it's telling me that I need to charge it. But on the inside of the helmet itself, the wire just tucks under the edge of the helmet here. This is the main wire that comes off of the Bluetooth headset. This is double-sided adhesive on the bottom, and that's what's got this taped on. What you have to do is you have to pull the pads out of the inside of the helmet. Once you pull the pads out, it's really up to you, which isn't why I'm going to really show it, because the way that I wired it, underneath and over padding in this particular helmet, from the main communication piece on the outside here, there's just that one line, and it runs on the inside, and then it Y's out from there. And from the Y, there's the 2 sides that go to the different speaker sides. So one wire is really long because it needs to go the other side of the helmet from the side that you put it on, and then the other is shorter because it's going to stay on the same side as the communication unit. So You need to pull the pads out. You need to take the cover off the pads, and then the speakers themselves, they're about that big in diameter, and there's a little pad on the back that you peel off, and those are double-sided adhesive as well. They come with an extra piece of pad that's double-sided on both sides. I think it even has a Velcro on one side, and so what you can do is you can Velcro a pad in your helmet, and then the other side is Velcro, and it's this foam. It's kind of like a foam riser. It just makes it so that the space between your helmet and your actual ears, you can bring the speaker in closer if you need to. And on mine, I did need to. There's actually kind of a open pocket on the inside of my helmet. The way that these kind of have a open pocket in here, that's the way that the ear pads are on the inside of my Arai helmet. There's a little pocket in there, so I did use that extension pad, bring the speaker in closer. And I also, once I started riding around and listening to music, I noticed the road noise was actually loud enough that at higher speed, 55, 60 plus, riding down an interstate or highway or something, then the road noise was loud enough that I was losing the sound. And so what I actually did was, once the speaker was mounted, I went around the outside edge of the speaker with like a 1/4 inch by 3/8 inch weather stripping foam, and just did a full circle all the way around it. And that has made it so when I put it on, it's not so tight that I'm just ripping the speakers and ripping all the foam out from the ear pads when I put it on. But it makes it so that once I have the helmet on, the edges of my ears are more muffled the way that this is on the inside, to cancel out the outside noise. Now I can hear cars, I can hear horns, I can hear sirens, I can hear all that stuff just fine. All it does is just takes the road noise out. If you're ever riding with somebody that has like an aftermarket pipe on, and you're staggered, they're in front and you're behind them, and they've got like a Kirker slip-on or Vance and Hines or something. If you're ever behind somebody like that and they're really getting up into RPMs, or they miss a gear and get into RPM and they're not actually in gear, it can be just screechingly loud. It'll kind of shake you when that happens. And so I feel like the way that this is set up, it makes it so that kind of noise, that really loud noise, is canceled out. The really high impacted air noise that you get when you're riding at higher speed. I think when I got the kit, it was about $50. And so I'll make sure to post the price and a link, and I'll post the Amazon part number. I got this on Amazon. And so I think that this is a good purchase. It was really easy to install. I did see that somebody said that the adhesive tape on theirs came undone, and the actual unit on the outside of the helmet fell off, and it was just dangling by the wire. Thankfully, the wire actually held it, so they didn't lose the whole thing. But on mine, before I actually attached the unit to the outside of the helmet, I found a spot that was more of a flat spot. If I moved too far forward on the helmet, it would have been too much of a ridge, and there wouldn't have been enough of a flat spot. If I moved too far back, I might have run into some of the spots in the vents or a different contour. But the spot right here on the helmet was just right. It's the same shape and size of the unit itself, and the adhesive has plenty of grip. But I also took alcohol wipe and wiped the outside of the helmet first before I stuck this on. And I think that might be a big difference. If your helmet's at all dirty, even if you think you did a good job cleaning it with something, just wiping it down with some warm water or something, you really need something like alcohol to clean the surface and make sure you get this stuck on here. I've had this on here for a while now. I'll probably look up when I purchased this, because right after I purchased it, I installed it. So it's been on the helmet that time. It's a black helmet. It's getting a lot of sun. It's getting hot when it's outside, when you're outside in the 80 plus days riding around here in North Carolina. And I've not had any problems with this. It's not wanting to come off now. It's not peeling anywhere. The microphone on the inside, if you can see it, there's the mic right there in the middle. This is just a double-sided Velcro. The other side is taped in with that double-sided tape on the other side of the Velcro side. It's male and female. And I've had conversations with people when I'm riding. A couple buddies of mine I've talked to on the ride home from work, and they don't even hear the road. They don't even know that I'm on a motorcycle. It just sounds like I'm just talking to them on the phone. So I actually think that's a really good quality in the way that the microphone is set up to not pick up all that other noise. But other than that, if you have any questions about this one, or if you have a comment about something that would make this setup better, just post it in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, share the channel with other people. And part of this now is as I'm going through my videos, and I'm doing videos like this, but when I'm out riding now, because I'm making beats. So if you go to my playlist, you can see that there's a playlist called Sean's Beats, and those are some beats that if you're riding on a motorcycle, those are the best beats to listen to. Anything techno, Crystal Method, that kind of stuff. I mean, you're going to have a lot of fun listening to music while you're riding. Unless you just ride with the music so screechingly loud, I don't believe that you're going to run into something where you didn't hear an ambulance coming or a fire truck coming. I think that would be probably the biggest worry. I'm always watching all the vehicles anyway, even with the full face helmet. I'm constantly turning my head, and I'm always watching cars ahead of me, cars behind me. Probably the biggest difference for my motorcycle is that I don't have a tall windscreen on the front. If you want to call it a windshield, it's the windscreen. I don't have a tall windscreen on the front, so the air is not being diverted over the top of my head, where I'd have less wind noise than if I was on a bigger bike that was more of a cruiser. Mine's a sport touring, so sorry I said cruiser, but mine was a full touring BMW with a big windscreen on the front for doing really long trips and high miles, the wind would probably go over the top of my helmet. But because my windscreen I have cut short because I like the sportier look, the wind is actually diverted right about here, which is nice. It's not actually diverted right into my helmet. Some of those screens are just high enough that the wind comes right over the top and hits you right in the forehead. And mine doesn't do that. It comes a little bit lower, but it does make it so, because my bike is a naked sport bike, it doesn't have all the plastic fairings and everything. It's got a half cowl, but that, if you look it up, it's the 2012 FC1. But because it diverts the air into my chest, I do hear some of that road noise, but for the most part, I'm kind of in front of the sound. I can tell about 6,500 RPMs. The sound of the sound coming out of the exhaust is actually loud enough and at the right speed that it kind of catches up to me so that I can hear it a little bit more. But I think that this is a great option. It's really easy to install. I don't think you're gonna have any problems with it. If you want to do the extra modification where you put in the foam trim around the outside edge, you can just look up something that's a kind of a thin piece of foam. You can pick whatever thickness you need. You can kind of put your hands up in between your ear and the helmet, and you can kind of tell how much space you're going to need, a thickness of a finger or something like that. So I'm going to end this video for now, but thanks for watching, and I hope this is going to help you make your decision on what kind of Bluetooth communication headset you want for your motorcycle helmet. Thanks.